Hi guys, welcome to the second Leadership Academy training session of the year. So I'm going to jump straight in and help you guys with your session plan that you have been asked to do. Okay, so you have been asked to design a session plan for a sport of your choice that is appropriate for your year group. Okay, so thinking about your PE class at school and how you can tailor the sport of your choice towards their needs. Okay, so if you go to a football club outside of school, don't be thinking about your teammates at the club when you're designing the session plan, because chances are they'll be of a much higher level and ability than some of the students in your PE class. Okay, so I'm going to jump straight in, share my screen with you guys and talk you through a session plan. Okay, so this is one of mine. My chosen sport is gymnastics. Okay, and the first thing we need to think about is our learning objective. So what do we want the students in our group to be able to achieve by the end of the session? Okay, so by the end of this session, I want the students to be able to understand how to transfer their weight. Okay, down the left-hand side here, you can see the all, some and few outcomes. Okay, so this means what will all of the students be able to do, some of them, and what will a few of them be able to do. Okay, so all of the students should be able to transfer weight on at least one body part. Okay, so this includes their feet. They might be able to walk from one foot to the other foot, as simple as that. Okay, some of the students will be able to transfer weight onto different body parts. So this could be from their feet to their hands. Okay, and and few students will be able to transfer their body weight onto different parts under control. Okay. Down the right hand side here, okay, if you want to have a go at these ones, you can. If you're not quite sure and get a bit confused about them, you can just leave them, that's fine as well. Okay, so the technical aspect, what technique should the students have when they are performing this skill or in this game? Okay, so for a cartwheel, I want students to think about having straight legs and pointed toes. Not everyone will be able to achieve that, but if they can think about it and start putting it into action, then that's great. Physical, okay, so what physical components do they need to have? Okay, so for this, they need to have good balance, they need to be able to find their center of mass, and they need to be able to hold their body weight. What do they need to think about when they're performing the skill? Okay, so in this lesson plan, I go through 3 different stages of a cartwheel, and students need to be able to piece these together to create the whole skill. Social skills. Okay, so how do they interact with the rest of the group? What should they be doing? Okay, this might be as simple as taking turns, okay, or working together as a team. So for this session, I want the students to be able to offer constructive criticism to other people in their group. Okay, so this includes giving them advice and guidance on how to improve their skills. Okay, so scrolling down. Okay, so you need to include a warm-up in your session plan. If you can, think about how it can relate to the rest of the session. So for example, the game that I have chosen is a game where students have to show that they can support their own body weight. Because if they can't hold their own body weight, they will not be able to do a cartwheel. So by playing this game at the start of the session, I can see which students need to go in which groups, okay, which ones need a bit more help in holding their own body weight and learning the basic skills, and which ones are already there and will be able to do these steps quite easily. Okay, so it's a simple stuck in the mud style game called Rivers and Bridges. If you get tagged, you have to go into a press up shape, okay, and you can only be freed if a river goes under you, okay, so someone has to slide underneath you to free you. Okay, and by holding the bridge shape or the press up shape, you can clearly see which students have no problem in holding their own body weight. Okay, and down the side here, the step, okay, this is how you can make it easier or harder for the students in the room. Okay, so space, the students will have the whole hall. Okay, they don't need any more space, they don't need any less space, that is the space they have been given. Task. If the students are finding it too easy and they are easily getting away from the Tiggers, you can just add a few more in, okay, make it a bit harder for them. Likewise, if they're finding it too hard and everyone's being tagged all the time, take a few tiggers out, only have 1 or 2 tiggers. No equipment needed, and the people involved is the whole class. Okay, so we're going to do a little starter activity just to gauge where students are at. So they're learning how to transfer weight. Okay, so I'm going to call out a body part and they have to figure out how to transfer their weight on that body part. So I might say feet, and they have to stand on one foot and transfer their weight onto the other foot. I might say their back in their tummy, so they have to lie on their back and they have to transfer their weight onto their tummy by rolling over. Okay, and again, I've got my step. So the space they've got a mat to share. Okay, and at the bottom you can see they'll be working in groups of 3. Okay. Equipment, they've got a mat, and task. Again, students should be able to sort of keep up with the pace of this activity, and if they are struggling, they can have a look at other members in the group as a little bit of guidance. Okay, then going on to the cartwheels themselves. So I'm going to start off with the step for this one. So students will have 1 mat, okay, and if I go down to the bottom for the people, they'll be in small groups matched ability wise. Okay, so I'm going to group all of my best gymnasts in 1 group. Okay, and then I'll have all my middle ability groups, and then I'll have the ones that need a bit more support on a mat on the other side of the room. And you can sort of see by looking at the room, this is your best group over here, then the middles, and then the lower ability group on the other side. Okay, so task. Students can progress onto the harder activities depending on their ability. So the whole room will be sort of working at different speeds. That's absolutely fine. Okay, and the equipment they need a bench or a mat. Okay, if they are struggling, they will have the bench for a little bit longer, and I will explain why as I go on to the steps. Okay, so cartwheels. We're going to start by learning how to transfer our weight from one side to another side, and we're going to do this using a bench. Okay, so my lower ability students may use the bench for a bit longer than the other groups, and that's absolutely fine. Okay, so they're going to put their hands on the bench and they're going to stand on one side and they're going to jump their feet over to the other side. Okay, and they're just learning to transfer their weight over their hands. Okay, after this, they're going to progress onto what is called straddle bunny jumps. Okay, so this is concentrating on having straight legs and jumping one leg over followed by the other leg. Okay, as we progress and we get get more comfortable with the skills and we want to work on the harder stuff, we can concentrate on getting our legs a little bit higher every single time. Eventually, the higher ability group definitely will basically be doing a cartwheel over the bench. Okay. So step 3 is practicing the cartwheels themselves. Okay, so during this step, I will teach which leg the student should be stepping on, which way their hands should be facing, and how they transfer their weight over their hands. Okay, again, it will be split into 3 different groups. You'll have the lowers, the middles, and the highers, all working at different levels. So we'll all start off with baby cartwheels, and this is basically stepping on the leg that you know you should be stepping on, putting your hands down and just doing a little jump round. Okay, as they build their confidence, they can start getting their legs higher, legs straighter, and they'll be doing basically normal cartwheels. Okay, and then the higher ability group definitely will be working on round-offs on the floor. So this is a cartwheel and landing with your feet together. Okay, so as you can see, there are different tasks for different abilities that they can keep working on so that they don't get bored. Okay. Finally, they need a cool down. So I haven't put the step in for this one. But it's basically, we're just going to cool down by stretching. I always finish my gymnastics sessions with a stretch because a lot of the time the students are using muscles that they probably haven't used before. Okay, so we're going to walk around the room, bringing the heart rate down, completing arm circles, stretching out the arms and the shoulders, and some high kicks. Okay, so we're not kicking them up really high and pulling a muscle. We're gently going to step, kick the leg up, and slowly lower it back down so that we're stretching out the hamstrings. Okay, This is followed by static stretching. So we're going to stretch out the wrists and the ankles because we've been using them a lot today, obviously kicking off the floor to go up to our cartwheel, and then we're obviously supporting our weight with our wrists. Okay, so it's really important that we stretch them out so that we don't cause any injuries. Followed by stretching out the hamstrings and the shoulders in a static way. Okay, so feet together, folding down to touch toes, and then the cat stretches to stretch out your shoulders as well. Okay, so that is a gymnastics lesson plan that I use with year sixes at primary school. And it hopefully gives you guys a little bit of an idea on what you guys can do to include in your session plan. Okay, so I hope you enjoy putting this together. It sounds really sad, but I really enjoy session planning and putting all my ideas down on paper. Especially thinking about the lower groups and what I can do to help them improve, and the higher groups and how we can keep them from getting bored, basically, and how we can keep them engaged and entertained throughout the lesson. Okay, so yeah, I hope you enjoy putting your session plan together. Please make sure you send them in to cgsoutreach@cars.uk. I hope that's the right email address. So yeah, please send them in and look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.